Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Boss Talk Radio. I am your host, George Dandridge, the Texas tax expert. So, today we're trying something a little different. So, I want y'all to bear with me. I do tax, not tech. And our normal and on the online radio, we're having some issues over there, which technically works out because I want to thank you guys for supporting us. And now we're actually going to be coming to you live where you can see everything and see our guest and all of that good stuff. Um, so this is new technology for me, so I want y'all to bear with me and everything while I get this thing worked out. But very, very happy to be talking to you guys. Very excited about the new year. If you didn't catch our last episode on Talk Boss Radio, we had Kamari Ellis, and he gave you guys a lot of feedback and whatnot on investment strategies, ways you could do fractional investing, and all of that. And the thing is that we want to be of value to you at Boss Talk Radio. We want to not only bring you the top experts in different areas of business, but also the downsides of entrepreneurship and the things that you go through and whatnot. So we hope that you're all learning something and everything. And we want to thank you again for your continued support. So, have a couple of announcements and a couple of people I want to thank. I first want to thank my homegirl Nikki for this positivity jar. This came just in time. So, how this works is you say your prayer over it at the beginning of the year, and every time something positive happens, you make a little note and put it in there. And this was very interesting because, about first, second week of December or so, I was seeing all of this stuff on my timeline, right? About, how people couldn't wait till 2019 was over. And of course, then there was the new year, new me posting everything. And I was like, wow, am I the only one that had a great year? And fortunately, uh, hundreds of people responded, to that post. Was like, yeah, no, it was rocking over here and everything. So it was good to see that there were some people that really had a good time. And I know, every year, and I try to always be considerate, every year, especially around the holidays, a lot of times people are going through a first, whether it's a first loss or whatever, first holiday, that something is different, something changed. So again, really appreciate Nikki for this positivity jar. My prayer was to be able to have so much positive going on that it won't even fit in here. That I got to bubble it over, put it in a box, and catch the overflow. And the year is already starting that way. And so our guest today, she actually has a group of her own, the Efficient CEO, and one of the questions she asked last week was, "What is your word for 2020?" And it was easy for me because the word was stretch. So, as a lot of you know, I do tax, not tech. I'm a soul child, give me cassettes and Cadillac, you know. But this year, I'm determined to stretch myself. So we already started that with Boss Talk Radio and going into more public speaking and whatnot. And so now I'm getting wind of these different little techie things. And I'm giving it a try. Camera wasn't my thing. The software here wasn't my thing. Y'all had to see me last night in my office trying to type in these little banners and everything, which I thought was kind of cool. I'm still playing with some of it. So what we hope for is that over time, you're going to see more and more improvements on the show, the graphics, etc. Hope to get my main man Eric in the studio. I say the studio. Let me tell y'all something. So my office is kind of like becoming a studio. I'm gonna have to take the next room over to make it my office because I got the light shining in my face and everything. Saw this stuff yesterday that I'm gonna make some investments in the microphone and some cool cameras or whatever. Because I don't really like this camera, but it's gonna get the job done for right now. So y'all, y'all just gonna constantly see the growth or whatever. But for me, it was to stretch. So one of those parts of stretching was I actually made some of my business goals public. I put it out there, so people can not only see when you win, but if you come short or whatever. And part of some challenges, I've been doing the video per day challenge. And man, that's kind of opened me wide up. I done got a little comfortable on this camera thing. Might have a TV show in the near future. And then also, if you remember our interview from back in November when we had Dominique Huff on here, he's got a men's book club, and that's been exciting. Meeting once a week, and so we start to kind of get into some complicated schedules. So we're looking at some software that lets everybody that wants to participate or whatever. But that kind of reinforce my being able to read without it just being tax or business related, because once again, I learn from everybody. So once again, our guest today had a post and it said something to the effect of what's something you want to learn in 2020 that wasn't business related. And all I could do was make a sad face because it occurred to me that I'm straight line in four corners. I don't have no hobbies, no like I do this thing here that I do. This is what I do. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna have to get up, get out, and get something in the 2020. Find something to do that's like, makes me not so bored. It's like maybe that's why all my friends are kind of nerdy like me. Like we read tax code and whatnot. But anyway, let's see. A couple things we want to talk about. The Boss Talk expansion. Obviously, you see it here. So you're going to be seeing us on YouTube Live. If you haven't subscribe to that channel yet, please go to YouTube, look up Elite Eight Elite Eight Tax and Financial Services. Not going to give you the link right now because it was this long, but they tell me once I get a couple hundred subscribers, I can customize my URL. So I'm looking forward to that. A lot of my colleagues are doing the YouTubes and the videos, and I always kind of shied away from that thing. So again, my one of my stretch points there. If you haven't joined the Boss Talk Radio group on Facebook, please do that. Let me know if you can hear me. It sounds like my mic went out on my side. Bernadette, can you hear me? I can see you. So. Okay, great. So anyway, um, in addition to that, don't forget Boss 2020. So my team woke up to this message I did last night. And let me tell you, I got a couple emails. Our meeting this evening, they're probably going to kind of throw me across the coals. But I already put it out there. So kind of like Trump did with this whole war thing. Like I didn't seek the approval of Congress. I just did it. So what it is if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you purchase a early bird streaming ticket for Boss 2020, the early bird tickets are $35. All the proceeds go to Holding Strong Awareness Campaign. And if you have any questions about that, you can go to the Holding Strong Awareness Campaign page on Facebook, or you can call our Director of Operations, or you can go to elite8financial.com/boss-2020 to see more about the speakers, the event, and learn more about Holding Strong Awareness Campaign. But if you do those two things, I'm going to give you a 15-minute interview on Boss Talk Radio. That's the part that my team is kind of, stressed out about because my director of operations has to coordinate all of that. He's like, you just going to throw stuff on my plate and don't tell me? Just oops. Yeah, I did that. So next thing, with Boss 2020. So you may be asking what that is. Business Operations Success Seminar is being held February 29th at the Attaché Private Lounge. We have a great lineup of speakers, but first, what it is I believe that community is strongest when the businesses in that community are stronger. And it's a ridiculous stat about the number of businesses that will close within the first 2 to 3 years. And oftentimes, contrary to popular belief, it's not just because they're undercapitalized, it's because they're underplanned, under knowledgeable, etc. And there's this mantra out there where you'll hire an accountant or tax professional, etc., when the money starts to come in. The thing is that most of us, we pay for ourselves in the money that we save you. You know, the amount of information and the amount of strategy that we give you, I'm telling you, it's priceless. But I pulled in a bunch of people from the network based on a lot of the questions I get a lot of times, like, is it better to be a corporation or LLC or sole prop or whatever? We're going to have Aaron Cartwright, managing partner at the Cartwright firm, talk to you about that, the legal structures, best way to do it, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to have Jillian Verdon. She is a CPA and a certified profit first strategist. And oftentimes I get that question, well, when can I pay myself? How do I pay myself? You know, how am I supposed to navigate what funds go where? She's going to give you the game on that. That in itself is priceless. Then we have Johannes Harrison. He is a wealth manager. Strange thing about a lot of people that go into business for themselves, eager to go in, eager to get it done, never have a strategy for how to get out. So he's going to teach you different strategies from group plans that you can do for your employees to, you know, individual retirement plans, et cetera, and teach you how to successfully exit your business while still having a business and having the residual passive income. And then, of course, I'm going to talk to you guys about all the different tax compliance and estimated taxes and bookkeeping and things of that nature, how to make those things work for you, because those things can turn into a snowball effect. So get your tickets for Boss 2020 at boss-2020.eventbrite.com. Early bird tickets are $35. They are already on sale. I think the early bird tickets in next week or week after. And then the regular price tickets go up to $75. So if you're in Dallas, love to have you actually at the event if you're around the DFW area. But this is such a value that we wanted to be able to get it out to everybody. So this event will be streaming as well. So you can get your streaming tickets again at boss-2020.eventbrite.com. And so again, price is what you pay, value is what you get, and this is an invaluable service. Last announcement, because if I get one more phone call, the IRS is accepting e-filing starting January 27th. Okay, so there's going to be beta testing and all of that that can come before that. The million questions about, you know, hey, so and so told me we can file right now and we can file using our last check stub. And what I'm not about to do is go back and forth with people that's not compliant with the law. Do what you feel. The other question, well, George, why don't you do advances and this and that and the other? And here's the reason why. I believe that that has a cycle to it. If you are looking for and needing that advance, and this is no shade and no shame, but chances are you have some financial behaviors that need to be corrected, and you could have used that money throughout the year. So I'd much rather sit down with you and have a discussion about how that money can come to you throughout the year than you know, you getting out of character and then January 1st, 2nd, you're trying to knock somebody's door down to get a loan advance or whatever. I believe it's a predatory practice. I don't encourage it or whatever. Don't knock it, but we don't compete in that space. That's not our place. It's not what we do. We're here to not only give you a complete and accurate return, but to educate you in the process. So if you've been going to the same tax preparer for 3 or 4 years and you're getting $8,000, $9,000 for 3 or 4 years, you probably need a new tax preparer because there's no strategy involved in helping you keep some of that money in your pocket during the course of the year. Anyway, that aside, I want to bring to you our guest for today. Um, I'm not going to go through her complete bio because I run out of time. She is the efficient CEO. She is a forensic accountant. She has more awards than Gladys, Patty, and Aretha put together with Grammys. Uh, she's an author. The list goes on and on. I want to welcome to Boss Talk Radio, Miss Bernadette Harris. How you doing today, Bernadette?
I am great. Now you got me over here blushing, talking about I got more awards than Aretha and Patty. I don't know now.
Put together. Put together. I've been counting. I've been following for a minute. That's why we're so excited to have you on the show, especially at this time of the year where we're both closing out clients for 2019 and setting up for 2020, and of course taking new clients as well. But I want you to go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself and who you are or whatever. So you don't just sit over there blushing. You can start to realize, hey, I'm a big deal.
Well, thank you, George. I appreciate the invitation, and it's always great. I love the fact that I have solid relationship with other tax professionals and recognizing that there's enough business out there for us all to be successful. So I appreciate you for bringing me onto your show, knowing that we do some of the same things. But I think that we both have the same mindset when it comes to that. Like, you can be successful down in Dallas, and I can be successful here in Atlanta, and we can both do our thing. So I appreciate that. Really, really excited to be a part of your show. Thank you so much for the invitation. To those who are listening, if you have never heard of me, I'm Bernadette L. Harris. And as George said, I'm the efficient CEO. And one of the things that I do is I help business owners run their businesses more efficiently and more effectively. And I do that in a variety of ways. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that as we go on. So if it's okay with you, let's just have a conversation. We don't really have to we don't have to
Yes.
keep it too stiff. We could just have a nice little conversation today.
Well, I'm going to walk you into a conversation for sure, so you can say some stuff that that I don't always say. So, I want to ask you, why do you think that it is that people wait until, because it bothers me that the IRS is my number one referral source. And the reason is because people will go to wherever they see a sign hung without looking for any type of credential or etc., and they don't take matters serious until they get the IRS notice. And it's usually not the first or the second one. It's that, hey, you got like 10 business days, that one. And then they want you to work why do people wait so long to get right?
I think a part of it is fear. A lot of times people are just afraid of what they don't know. And when it comes down to the IRS stuff, a lot of that stuff it's scary. Most people are scared. And I think that it's probably easier for us because we're familiar with the IRS. It's like, but people who aren't, they don't have the same relationship with the IRS as us. So it's fear. I think that's the number one reason. There's probably some other stuff too, one of the things that I've come to learn in my life is that we all have something that we procrastinate on. It's always,
Mm.
there's some area that we all could do better on. I Lord knows I do. I have some areas that in my life, like I need to be exercising. So, but and I
Did she
don't.
just judge me?
People wait until January to want to try to exercise when they need to be exercising all year. And it's just, we just all kind of have that area. So one of the things that's very fortunate for us, George, is that we have the opportunity as well as the knowledge to be able to educate people. And that's what you've been doing with your show. And that's what I do in my practice. And so we just got to keep talking about it. We got to keep educating people on the process to at least help them to understand that they can get over that fear.
Okay, so for everybody out there that's watching, let me just drop this here in on you. Don't be scared.
Don't, don't be scared.
we
We
have
got you. We got
we
you.
have a network of phenomenal people from Maryland to the lower end of Cali, Seattle to Florida. Reach out to somebody because the longer you wait, the less we're capable of doing. More importantly, the more it's going to cost you. I'm just going to throw that out there.
That's just the bottom line. It's like if you fix your roof when it's a little small leak, it's a lot.
Right. Ooh, I
You
like
wait
that
until that whole thing cave in. Now, come on. So
one. I like that one. So, hey, now with business owners, um, there's this paradigm that exists that suggests, and I'll tell you why it bothers me. But the paradigm suggests that, hey, if you have a passion for it and a skill at it, just go for it. And while I agree that the timing, you shouldn't wait on the perfect time because it'll never be perfect. I personally just feel like there's some due diligence people should do before, they cash out their 401k and go running into a business. And and it's not that everybody's not cut out for business, because here's the thing. Even if you don't know much about business, there are people like Bernadette that can steer you the right way on the things you don't know. Like, case in point, I'm not that good at the techie stuff. Y'all laugh at me in our tax conda place or whatever, and it's really is funny because I tell people I'm a tax expert and a tech tard, but uh, that's my stretch goal, But in the meantime,
and you're
I
doing it. I
have,
mean, it's
yeah, I'm
January and
trying.
you are already stretching
But
yourself.
in the meantime, I
Um,
have a guy who I've been working with for 3-4 years now, whatever. And it's kind of like he doesn't try to sell me anything, but if I dream it up and like, hey, can this be done? Like, yep,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's
When can we get it done? And the reason we've been able to work together so long, unlike people I've worked with in the past, is he never tries to get me to understand what and how he's doing what he's doing, because he could knows like, hey, you don't want to talk
just
about
that it can be done. That you can get it done for
right.
you.
If you don't want to talk about generation skipping transfer tax, I don't want to talk about this IT stuff over here. So, but what do you think is the cause of, if you could, speak to the world at one time about people that were about to go in business, what would be that key piece of advice you would give them about what to do prior to just throwing the money out there?
So here's the thing. You said so much, and I've been sitting here like waiting to get in here. But the barrier to entry for entrepreneurship has been lowered significantly, and that is a good thing, and it's also a bad thing. And when I say that, when I say the barrier to entry is lower, it's so easy. It's easy to start a business. Like there used to be a time where it was only available to people with a significant amount of money, contacts, and things like that. And now it is so easy to go into business. Anybody can go into business. So that's the good part. And that's also the bad part. Because now that anybody can go into business, you have people who just instantly set up an Instagram page and now they're in business. Or you have people who will create their Facebook page or create a website or create a business card, and now they're in business. And so I know here in Atlanta, everybody has a business card.
Hmm.
But when you have a conversation about whether their business, how their business is structured, do they have an accounting system in place, how are they keeping track of things, how are they monitor, all of these things. They don't know any of that. All they know is you could go to my website and buy a shirt, or you know. And so I think that that's the problem, that the barrier to entry to business has been lowered, and because it's so easy for people to go into business, they don't think about all the things that it takes to start a business. So one of the things that I've done, George, and you know, you mentioned it in the beginning that I'm an author. And so years ago, and I wrote my first book in 2009. Years ago, I said, I need to write a book to teach people, because like you, I have been getting the business. I get the business after they messed it up, after they have letters from the IRS, after the, you know, and I'm like, wow, what can I do to stop people from making these mistakes in the beginning? Like, create some type of guide, some framework to help people to start their businesses the right way. And so that's what I did. And so this is actually the second edition of that book, and it's called The Business Blueprint 2.0. And this book is also the book that I use for the course that I teach.
Hold on.
It walks people.
Don't
I know
just
we're
blow
gonna come
past
back.
that. Hold that back up there again. Let's look at that. They need to know. Wait, so it was The Business Blueprint, and where can people get that book?
So this is the book, Business Blueprint. You can go to go to my website, trustbernadette.com, and all of my books are on there, so you can grab a copy of this book. But the thing is that people need a framework, they need a blueprint, they need step-by-step guide on how to start your business and the things that you need to think about. I've had people to say, like, they've read the book and it was just like a godsend, because these were things that they never really considered, but they're all essential to determining how you're going to start your business. And there are people who are starting businesses, you starting partnerships with people, you don't have a partnership agreement,
Right.
you don't know how your business is set up, you don't know how you're going to handle taxes, you're not handling taxes, you're not keeping up with your accounting. It's just a lot of things that is more to starting your business than getting that business card, getting your logo. You want to rush and go get a logo, but you don't have a business bank account.
Priorities.
Wait a minute, I done stepped on somebody. Yeah, so it's really about making sure that you set things up in a way to where they're systematic and you've taken all things into consideration. So I'm gonna stop, because I know I probably have stepped on some toes. Or somebody said something about partialpreneurs. Yeah, and that's really
what a valid thing, because like you said, the entry has been lowered so much, and hey, it is a great thing because you have so many platforms. Like it's not hard to get paid now, like with the Cash Apps and the Stripes and everything, and
and all of that. So I remember a time. I remember when I went into business, you actually had to go through underwriting in order to accept the credit card. Now you can set up a PayPal account in 30 minutes, or Square, and all of that. And those are the things that make it great. But then you also have, like you said, you got people out here using Cash App. And if you're not using the business version of Cash App, you're in violation of the terms and services agreement. So Cash App can shut you down at any point, and hold your money. So,
and the thing is that I think my concern, two-part concern. One is that people are going into business with the best intentions, and the priorities are shifted. Like you said, they're more concerned with getting the logo and the business card than setting up the infrastructure of the business, and subsequently it's not sustainable. That's one side of it. The other side of it is and I don't know if you've heard this, but I had a guy tell me just back in November, he was telling me about his business and whatnot, and just asking me some general questions. And then I asked him about, he was concerned about getting some funding, and I asked him about, did he have his past returns together or whatever. And he made a statement to me that, like, I almost jumped out my shoes. He said, "Oh, I've been under the radar for 5 years." And I said, "Well, what do you mean under the radar?" Like, "Yeah, I don't file returns or whatever." I said, "Well, can I ask you a question?" I say, how do you get paid?" He said, "Well, I use Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal." I said, "Hmm." "And you don't think any of these entities report to the IRS?" And he was
Right.
like, "Oh, well, no, because I don't have the business versions." I was like, "Huh, okay. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that you won't be able to get funding because essentially you don't have a business. You have a hustle.
Right.
Tell us about the, oh, I'm not going to, well, I tell you what, you tell them about the difference between the business and the hustle and your other book."
Okay. And you know what? It was so funny that you mentioned that. So one of the other hats that I wear is I'm also an adjunct instructor. So I teach a college class at a college here in Atlanta, and my class is teaching tax and accounting for entrepreneurs. And so I love teaching this class because before these students graduate and go into the music industry, they're learning about entrepreneurship and what are some of the things that you want to take into consideration. And I've had students to ask, basically a lot of the students come to the class with they already have businesses, and I use air quotes because um, many times they're just like the gentleman that you mentioned. It's really a hustle. It's not
Hmm.
really a business. There's no legal structure. They don't have a business license. They don't have business accounts, things like that. And one of the things that I told my students is hustles don't become empires. And so, if you want to continue to hustle, keep on hustling. But your hustle will not become an empire until you legitimize that business. Now, there are lots of hustlers who are now legitimate, but until they legitimize their business, the hustles don't become empires. And so, it's really important for you to think about, like, what's the goal here, really? Because if you are just hustling and you're just looking for some extra money to get a pair of shoes or extra money to be able to go out and make it rain in the club, then keep on hustling. But if you are looking to build an empire, create a legacy, create something that's going to impact your life, your generations, your community, things like that, then that's when you want to talk to somebody like me or George to make sure that you are legit and you have your business set up the right way. Um, it's so funny. That's a subtitle to the book too.
Well, we have another culture that's going on, and again, I don't knock how people make money, but I have an issue when you walk into a financial space and last month you sold waist trainers, the month before that you sold tea, the month before that you was doing something. And so, but we have, like, if I throw a rock right now and I'm inside, if I throw a rock, I'm gonna hit a credit repair agent. Not knocking, but to me, there has to be a mindset change, a paradigm shift about your finances, because to me, credit repair is like putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound. Like,
You got to change the behavior.
right, something got you there. And so there's another question that you asked, but it's much more intricate in your book. But the title of the book: did you hire a fraud? Speak on it.
So yeah, this is my last book. It's called "Did You Hire a Fraud?" And one of the things that I do as a forensic accountant is teach people how to protect themselves from occupational fraud. So occupational fraud is when you hire somebody and then they take advantage of you. Usually it's an employee-employer relationship, but sometimes it could be a vendor-to-vendor relationship. And so the book, Did You Hire a Fraud? Is basically that. It's basically a book. Here it is. Did You Hire a Fraud? Yes. It's an Amazon bestseller. Yeah. And so Did You Hire a Fraud is just a book that teaches people the schemes that are out there. It's a lot of ways that your employees can steal from you. A lot of things that people don't think about, putting trust in the wrong hands, or being blind with your trust. It's okay that we got to have a team. I don't want people to have the mentality of I have to do it. If I want it done, I got to do it myself. We have to have a team, but we
Hmm.
also need to understand when we bring these people on to be a part of our team, how do we put systems in place to make sure that your stuff isn't walking out the door?
Hmm.
And it happens in every industry, and it happens in every business size. I've had businesses, nonprofits, churches. They all say, "Oh, we're too small," and it's not true. If
Hmm.
you make deposits, you can be stolen from. So that's just the bottom line. If you have bank deposits, if you have inventory, if you have cash, somebody can steal from you. And so, what are things that you do? That the book is about teaching business owners how to protect themselves in that space.
And so we also live in what I call a coach culture. Um, and just like the people that went from um, waist trainers to tea to coffee to credit repair to food trucks, all in calendar year, um, everybody became a coach. And what I don't get is how can you be a coach in an industry that you have never been in? And then, like, some people will say, well, they're a business coach, but you don't have a business,
Ooh, we
and
shots are being
you
fired up
you
in
never
here.
had one, and then there's like to me, there's no, you can't be a blanket like case in point. Hey, I've had a few businesses, I could give you a bunch of business advice or whatever, but in this specific space that I'm in, when it comes to tax planning and representation and things of that nature, oh, I can go ham on that, but I can't tell you the first thing about a graphic design business other than how to do the accounting.
Exactly.
And
Or how to do a tax
so
return, right?
when I saw the title, "Did You Hire a Fraud?" That was like the first thing came to mind was the coaches culture. Like, hey, you got all of these so-called coaches out here, and it reminds me. I remember it was back in the '90s. Don't judge me. I just told my age, but somebody
I
came to
think we're
me.
about the same age, Jordan, so let's just keep it moving.
Somebody came to me at my then job and wanted to pitch me uh, prepaid legal. And it was the funniest thing because the person that came to pitch me had gotten a ride there.
Oh,
I saw them get out of somebody's car, and the people driving the car that they got out of, like, I wouldn't do business with you. And then, so they came in and they tried to give me this pitch. And of course, back then everybody was dream selling, pitching to retire in 2, 3 years. So how long you been doing it? Oh, I've been doing it about 6 months, really, and you still don't have a car. Okay, I'm gonna need you to leave. Just well, that culture has kind of exponentiated, and now everybody's an expert. They're a coach, and it's because of, to me, this thing. Like I say, I'm not the tech guy, but it seems like this technological advance that lets you reach people all over. created this, like I tell people all the time, well, hey, I could spend, a few grand on marketing and double my business overnight, but then the next year I'd have to go back and do that again because those clients will go across the street for a nickel. I'd rather build the
Yeah.
relationships.
Right.
How do we deal with the frauds in this coach culture?
Yeah, and so that's not what the book is about, but I can talk about it because we've
I told
been
you I was going to walk you into some conversations.
but I agree with you. I think that what's really important is when you're hiring people, period, you need to verify. And so if you're hiring someone that's going to help you grow your business, you might want to verify that they've actually done these things for themselves.
Hmm.
Because there are lots of people who can show you how to do stuff, but they can't they've never been there. So I think of it like this, and I think I use this analogy in my book. So there are people who can give you directions. Like if you stop, back in the day before we had GPS, you stop at the gas station.
Oh, it's funny you mentioned that. I had that. That's I
That's
promise you
confirmation.
that's part of my speech for Boss 2020. Go on, speak on it.
Okay, so back in the day before we had GPS, we stop at the gas station and we go inside the gas station and say, "Hey, I'm lost. I'm trying to get to such and such. Can you tell me how to get there?" Right? And so the
Mhm.
person in the gas station may be able to tell you how to get there, but they may not have ever been there, right? And
Mhm.
so they can tell you, and just like GPS can tell you how to get there, but if they've never been there, they won't be able to tell you that if it's a McDonald's on the corner. They just know to tell you to turn on XYZ Street,
Yeah,
right?
GPS will get you in the area, but at some
Right.
point
And
you got
so
to look
that's
up.
kind of what happens sometimes with when you're hiring people, whether it's a coach, and shoot, let's just talk about it, George. Just some people in our industry that
Yes,
they open
Lord.
up shops in January and they're closed in May. And so you want to have a conversation with people before you're hiring them to make sure that not only do they know how to get you there, that they've been there too. And so you want, whether you're hiring a coach, whether you're hiring an accountant, a tax preparer, whether you're hiring an attorney, you need to be asking questions, right? Questions that's going to prove that this person is going to be able to get you where you're trying to go. Uh,
Hmm.
you
Like
know,
one of the things that really irks me about our industry, and if y'all take this as shots fired, it's okay because it definitely is. So you get your pen and paper. He about to go in. He about to tell you one. There's this thing in our industry that every time somebody says it, I hair grow on my back. This thing called audit protection, and people are paying anywhere from $49 to $150 for audit protection.
but if your return is done right, oh, I know
Come
what.
on, speak on it. Come on. So show we on the same page,
Yeah,
Bernadette.
if you know what, that audit protection reminds me of. It reminds me of that insurance that the rental car company tried to sell you. I'm like, I already got car insurance.
That part. Or when you go to one of those predatory loan type places and get life insurance on the loan, but you have a life insurance uh, policy. Guys, let me just go on and tell you this. So here's the deal. If you are dealing with a qualified, credentialed tax professional, you don't need audit protection for two reasons. One, we're going to do our due diligence, and you can't just run something by us and it go down on the return. That's number one. Number two is that for any reason something should come back on that return, we're able to speak on it. Now, the people that disappeared on April 18th, yeah, I don't know what to tell you about that, but other than my office, the Bernadette office is still open
It's
that
still
time of
open.
year.
Yeah, we're still here. We might go on vacation, but
Right.
it's still, somebody's still there answering the phones. So
Yeah, I was just on vacation I was threatened I had to turn my phone off. So I worked the first 2 days of vacation, and man, as soon as I got back off the boat, I immediately turned my phone on. I'm walking to people in the airport trying to check emails and everything.
When you love what you do.
Well, go ahead and tell everybody again, show the different books that you have,
Okay.
where to find them, and how to reach you. And are the class? I know that you're professor, adjunct professor at the college. Are the courses able to be accessed online as well?
No, so the college course that I teach is not an online course. It is an in-person course, and it's a part of their degree program. So this school actually offers associate degrees in different areas of music and media. So it's a music and media school. So people who are interested in being sound engineers, musicians, rappers, these are all the types of students that attend this university. And well, it's not a university, it's a college, and they attend this college and they can get an associate's degree. So my course is one of the general ed courses that the students take as a part of their degree program. So not an online course. Maybe some. I know that they're looking to add some online courses, so we'll see if my course makes it to the roster. But I like teaching in person because they get all of this personality every week. so I like it a lot. So the books, these are my two books. So this is the first book, the camera. This is Business Blueprint 2.0, trying to make sure that I get it in the camera. And this is a book on how to start your business, start and run your business the right way. So there are two parts to the book. The first part teaches you to set up things, and the second part teaches you growth strategies, things that you can do to grow your business. So that's the first book. And then the second book is for more seasoned entrepreneurs who have employees. Did you hire a fraud? This book talks about the different fraud schemes that fraudsters perpetrate, and how you can protect yourself from those schemes. It's a really easy read, has some real true stories in there, and then again, strategies that can help you. My personal website is trustbernadette.com, and so you can purchase any book online on my website. So George, I appreciate this. Again, I know we're in similar spaces, so I'm grateful that you let me come sit on your virtual couch for a little while.
Oh, you thought I was about to let you go? I wasn't about to let you go yet. You have to. There's one more question for you out
Okay,
there.
well,
So, someone's going into business, regardless of the industry. This is not about taxes or accounting or whatever. This is about entrepreneurship. So, someone's going into business based on your tenure of being an entrepreneur. Um, what are two pieces of advice you would give them that you feel would have made the course for you smoother on your journey?
I think the first one is teamwork. And when I say teamwork, I'm not necessarily talking about people that you hire in your business, but I think that it's really important for the people around you, to you to have the right people around you. When I started my business in 2001. I was married to my daughter's father, and he didn't
She
have a
about to preach up in here. She
yeah,
gonna preach.
he didn't have an entrepreneur mindset, and so it was not. Let me see. I'm gonna stay tactful here because that's still
Preach.
my daughter's father. But it was really
We'll say
important.
equally yoked.
Yeah, and so we were equally yoked in other areas, but not in that space. And so it's really important. Entrepreneurship is hard. Entrepreneurship is something that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, and so it's important that you have the right people around you. And so throughout this journey, since that time, I mean, we separated like 8 months after I started my business, not necessarily because of the business, but that's another show, another topic. But
That's the
um,
relationship Wednesdays.
yeah, that's another show, another topic. But it was really important for me. One of the things that helped me to be able to stay in this space and be successful in this space was to have people around me that could help support me in my entrepreneurship journey. So my daughter grew up in my business. She was 8 years old and she was adding up receipts, and she learned how to use. I taught her Excel at 9 and QuickBooks at 12. So she was a part of the business, and so it was always something that she and I did. She would go to speaking engagements with me as a little girl. She would rock my sales table, be
Come
back there
on.
selling books and everything. And so those things were important. So it made it easier as a single mom to say, hey, on Saturday I have to go speak such and such. She knew. She got up and she got dressed, and she was in her business attire just like I was, ready to do her thing. And so that's a really
That's
important
awesome.
part of entrepreneurship, is making sure you have the right people on your team. And I'm remarried now, and so my husband now is definitely on board, and just like my daughter, rocks my sales tables. I love taking him to speaking engagements because he'll sell more books than I will. um, so so that part is really, really important, to make sure you have that home support. And so, because I don't have him, he's not giving me a side eye if I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go work, or if I have to work on a Saturday, because I'm also very intentional to make sure that we have our time. So you want to make sure that you have that, because dealing with your customers, dealing with your clients, building your business, doing all of that stuff is hard. You don't want to have to fight when you get home too.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so yeah,
Right.
so that's the first piece of advice that I would give to someone. And the second piece is really sit down and take the time to do a plan. And a lot of people come to me and ask me, do you write business plans? And here's the thing. If you are trying to start a business, now I understand that everybody is not eloquent with the English language, and maybe you don't write or even speak the King's English. But when you are starting a business, you should be able to articulate your idea, at least in your own words. You need to be able to at least sit down and figure out, what is it that I'm trying to do? Who am I trying to serve? Who's going to pay for this? How am I going to market it? You have to spend some time to actually plan out the business, because my first business plan was in a composition book. You know those black and white
Hmm.
composition books? That's where I wrote my business plan, in
My
a
first one was in one of these.
exactly. It doesn't have to be eloquent. It doesn't have to be a PowerPoint presentation, 50-page document, but you do need to spend time sitting down and figuring out, what is it that you're trying to do, how you're going to do it, who's going to help you do it. So those are my two things. Make sure that you have a team outside of your business that's going to support you. And second, make sure that you spend the time actually planning how you are going to execute your business. Doesn't have to be, it may not be loan ready, your business plan, but you do need a plan on how you're going to actually do it. So that's my answer.
I truly, truly thank you for being on, and appreciate that advice you shared with our audience. And guys, these are the type of people you're going to connect with at Boss 2020, because we are interested in seeing your business win. The boss is not just like the guy sitting at the desk. This is business operations success suite. This is what we do to shore up that side of your business, while you just be great at what it is you do. And um, I want to put this out there. Um, this is my opinion, and this is kind of adding on to what Bernadette just said. But if you're not ready to discuss your business at the drop of a hat, you're not ready to go into business.
Mm.
You know, um, and I'm not just talking about from the standpoint of a business plan, et cetera. I've gone to networking meetings and seminars and things of this nature where somebody want to just like give me a card or whatever, and with no conversation to associate with it, or
You
just
give me
introduce
part.
themselves and think that the card is by itself is gonna create a magnificent business relationship. Guys, you have to be able to talk about your business at the drop of a hat. You have to know your business, love your business. Um, and when it comes to the deeper side of it, when you get into the numbers or whatever, hey, everybody's not going to, be the one to say, hey, I did 4% over last year and, had this percent growth in this area and so forth. Hey, okay, I get that. That may not be your thing.
Right.
But if you cannot articulate what your business is
Who you serve.
and who you serve, the problem that you solve, and do so, I mean, in a single minute, you're not ready. You have some things to evaluate. Get the pen out, get the pad. It can be one of these, like,
Exactly.
'cause I
I
still
love
use
my
these to this day.
notepad. I have one right here. Like, all right.
Some people use one of these and they use the notes on the phone. That's not my thing. I have to be able to go back to it and hear. These tend to go out and break or whatever. I don't care. But these right here, man, I got some of these in boxes. you know,
I bet, George.
so you're able to go back. And yes, it's scripture, but I'm a firm believer. If you write it down, whoo, something happens when you write it down. So even if you think it's the most flummadiddle idea you've ever, write it down. It just may be before it's time, but in time, you'll be like, I wrote that somewhere. But anyway, Bernadette, I want to thank you for coming on, giving us your time, especially in this time of the year, when you launch that next book or the next project. We want you to come back on and tell everybody about it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you again for being on. So once again, we wrapping up Boss Talk Radio, and it's been a great episode. We loved having Bernadette on. I hope you guys got something from this. Before we close out, a couple things. Starting in about 3 minutes, you can go to boss 2020.elite8 financial. I'm sorry, boss 2020.eventbrite.com. Get your early bird streaming tickets and go to our YouTube page, look up Elite Eight Tax and Financial Services, and subscribe to our YouTube page. And with those two simple steps, you can have a 15-minute interview here on Boss Talk Radio to promote your business. And also remember that all proceeds from Boss 2020 goes to benefit the Hold and Strong awareness campaign. And if you're not familiar with that, what they do is provide heart screenings, CPR training, certification actually, and AED training to 2 and 4 student athletes ages 12 to 22, um, to reduce the risk of sudden cardiac events or whatever and protect our athletes. So again, go to boss.2020, I'm sorry, boss-2020.eventbrite.com. And if you are seeking new tax professionals, we are available and accepting new clients at elite8financial.com. You can have your taxes done virtually. Our mobile app is elite8tax.taxwise.com. You can get it done virtually. You can go on our website and get it done, or you can go and book an appointment to come into our office. We do business in personal tax returns. No, we do not engage in advances and loans and trips and TVs and cars or whatever, because what we do is what we do. We're not travel agents or payday loan companies. We're a professional tax organization here to service you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week.